How many have cleared 10 years or more? Of course, I'm in the category that has cleared. It will be, I left campus 40 years less. Next year, I will make 40 years since I left campus. So I'm in the group that's above 10 years. So nobody. Okay. How many have gone beyond 5 years? Okay. Pastor is one of them. How many have gone beyond 2 years? Even 2 years, nobody. Okay, how many have been working for more than... Oh yeah, your hand was up. Put it up again. Yeah, at least there's one about 2 years. How many have done beyond 6 months? They have been working for more than 6 months. Yeah, now we are getting numbers. How many are yet to start formal employment? Okay, you are the majority. So as I talk, I should be emphasizing on you. Am I right? Yes. Yeah, you are the majority, and that's why I wanted to be sure, because there is no way the pastor would have been sure exactly. The topic is so wide. It depends on who are the majority. So now I know the majority are people who are either starting or have not yet started work. They're exactly where I was in June 1977. So I'm not a stranger to it. And I've also been running career days for the last quarter of a century. I've been going from campus to campus, and the pastor also has gone around with me since he left campus. So we have had testimonies, not just my testimony of the 1970s. I've had current testimonies of people and what the experiences they are having. Given the time I have available, I have come with books so that that are aimed at the majority here. I've written a book called The Christian Professional, trying to define that even if you're an engineer, you are serving God in engineering. And that will be one of my emphasis. That there isn't two lives, one for pastors, one for non-pastors. All of us, once you are a Christian, must serve the Lord. So I describe the Christian professional leading in the marketplace to try to show that although I have never been a pastor even one day, from the time I left campus in 1977, I have actually been serving the Lord. And I've actually seen God use my profession to serve mankind. But in addition to that, even to serve mankind, it was going to heaven. In December, I led 3 people to the Lord, and all of them had to do something about work. Once I became 55 in 2007, so I've been kind of retired ever since. And one of the things I did when I left Shell was to register Taruma Consultants. And so and the consultant means I'm working with different people at different times. And I have seen that whatever job you do, the Lord can use it both to serve mankind, and in addition to that, in order to bring people to the kingdom. The 3 people that I led to the Lord in December, 2 of them, basically I met them through my professional life. In different categories. I train people since I work for an oil company for many years. Part of the job I do, I train petroleum staff. And I met one of them in the petroleum training, and then he asked me whether I could mentor him and help him. And I said, yes, I could. Let's have an appointment. It is during the appointment that I was able to show him, since his interest in me mentoring him was because he heard that I was in the top management of Shell, and Shell then was the biggest oil company in Kenya. So he wants to join in and grow in the Canada. I said, in the land like that. I said, let's be honest. I only made it to the top in the oil industry because I knew Jesus. I've seen many people enter into industry, equally qualified. I'm not better than them, but somewhere along the way, they get long fingers. And once they are caught, you know the days of Adiva, how many? How many? And the 40th day it can come on the second day. Now, you find somebody thought his career is totally messed up. Others, it has not anything to do with stealing. I know one of them, by the time he's manager, he is thinking like he's so powerful. Women should understand that he is powerful. So when you give him a secretary, he wants more than typing services. Are you getting the message? Yeah. So, and you feel like she's helpless. There's nothing she can do. But she gets information leaking to the top management. And within no time, okay, it is her word against his. But once the message goes that you cannot manage your sex drive, would anybody want you to work very far, very near women? No. So you find, in fact, he was transferred somewhere else laterally, whereas he had hoped for a promotion. And it has to do with his inability to zip up. I don't know when it's a girl what you say, but it's important to understand only Jesus can help you to zip up. So it's important to understand that, and I explained to the person, that if you know God, it's not just a question that you go to heaven. You have a much better successful career professionally because of your being a Christian. When you are a Christian and you are single, you are properly single, double S, single and satisfied. So you do not get tempted by girls and boys all around because you believe when God is time, God will give you a husband, God will give you a wife. So nobody can play around with your sexual emotions. Not because you don't have them, but because you have added a number to God. Am I clear? So you are able to manage yourself. And I can tell you, many people's careers have been ruined by inability to zip up. So you need to understand it when you become a Christian. So I'm telling the young man, you can, if I am to be honest with you, you want to be like me, the best thing is simply get to know Jesus. So it can be the G of God, wanting to be rich, which has ruined my careers. Or it can be the G of guys or girls. You have heard of the 3 G's that bring down people in their careers? Have you heard of the 3 G's? It is God, girls, and glory. You have never heard of them? Those are the 3 things which you will never be able to make it in your career unless you know how to do all of it. God is desire for money. So your salary is never enough. So, or whatever it is, the contract is you should get is not enough. You end up messing up. Girls and gold, if you're a girl, it's guys. If you're a guy, it is girls. And it's exactly the same. They have ruined many careers. And then the last one is glory. Glory is inability to handle positions. You get your first promotion and you are messing up with everybody. You feel like you are so powerful. Once people know that you cannot work with subordinates, are they going to give you more subordinates? No. So if you are not able to manage glory, you are going to end up with problems. So it's possible to share with the person. Only the fact that way back in campus, I was the chairman of the University Christian Union in 1975. In our time, you didn't ask which university. There was only one. So when you say you are in the university, there was only one. So you are never asked which one. Because you either went to Makerere or Nairobi or Dar es Salaam. Each country had one university. So, but the important thing is to know that as you start rising up, you are some level of pride, and if you can't manage that pride, you will never go elsewhere. We read in the Bible, pride comes before a fall. In other words, glory is pride. Treating yourself like you are special, unable to see that the person who is your subordinate may actually even be better than you. But because God opened an opportunity for you, there you are. You know, like now, there are people here who have not yet found a job, but they are far much better than those who have found a job. Am I right?
True.
Am I right, those of you who are here?
Yes.
Sometimes you are told by somebody they have not found a job. I used to work in Kisumu in the 80s. And then when I came back to Nairobi, I found a girl, ex-alliance, who had a BSc in mathematics and computer science. That is 1990 or 91. I think she graduated in 1990. So we are meeting, I think, towards the end of 91, and she says, I can't find a job. I say, no, you can't be serious. How can a computer science graduate, even 25 years ago, computer was a big thing. How could you know? But you know, when I started looking around, I discovered that everybody wanted a computer science graduate with experience. But this one has just left campus. And finally, the Lord still used me to direct her to a job. She actually went to work for a bank. It's a teller. You know what a teller is? A bank clerk. 25 years ago. Obviously, that was only a beginning. The Lord really blossomed her career. She was able to go properly into computer science and now works out of the country. But it's important to understand when you have a job, you are not better than those without. It's only God has opened an opportunity. The same thing with promotion. Sometimes you are very good, but you are three of you, equally good. Now, if they promote, they can't promote three at a go. They have to promote one. Now, do you know something? If just before your boss moves, the other two resign, you'll be the only one, isn't it? So you'll get a promotion. And not thinking how powerful you are. You are not powerful. The Lord arranged for the others to leave. If they stay, maybe you are not the best. I understood that my career progression is simply that God makes arrangement. And that thing also helped me. I was distributor manager for Shell for 8 years. And that was a long time waiting for a promotion. And by the time you have done 5 years, somebody says, hey, Nana, you work so hard. And they seem bypassing you when they are promoting others. And you know you can get where you start messing up. Because once you are frustrated, will you work at your best? Now they'll find you properly. You get the point? Because they'll find evidence that you're not doing your job. But the day I discovered promotion rate that comes from the east or the west, it comes from the Lord. Is that what the Bible says? When you understood that, then I was happy. I knew there is something God wants me to accomplish as district manager. And until it is done, I will not get a promotion. One day after 8 years, I just got a call from my boss and said, hey, you know, we really want somebody who can look after supplies the whole of East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. And so I became the East African supplies manager towards the end of 1998. Now, so I discovered my promotions are not just because of good performance, but also because God has opened a door. Are we together? The same thing. Here you are. You haven't found a job, yet you did so well. You had first class honors. Some people with just a pass are the ones working. You have a first class, you are not yet working. And sometimes you feel as a Christian, this is unfair, God. I have served you. In fact, the other day, if you are here, forgive me for giving your story. The other day, somebody emailed me, a young man emailed me and said, since he entered first year, he has been serious with serving the Lord, keeping himself pure, because he wants to marry when he is a virgin. Do men marry as virgins? What do you call a man who is pure? Are they called virgins also? I don't know. Give me the English word. Which word should I use? I call them virgins. So the man also wanted to marry as a virgin. So he is really serving the Lord. Then when he was now 4th year, he decided it is around time. Lord, give me somebody to marry before I leave campus. And he prayed and he fasted. But somehow he was waiting to hear. Then he really thought he heard God say, sister, so hard. So he prayed even more because he didn't want to be disappointed. Finally, he decided to share with the sister. The sister said, what? Me and you? What's wrong with you? How can you even imagine? Says the Lord said, no, don't bring the Lord here. Where did you get that kind of mind? The guy was so disappointed that after serving the Lord so much, the Lord has forgotten him. He wrote a note to me to just tell me, Brother Nganga, I'm disappointed. How can I serve the Lord so much and then he forgets me? Many other people have been running around with the girls. They are not serious with their walk with the Lord. Me, I have been stable in the Lord. And then I wait. I'm not in a hurry. I pray. I hear him. Then she can tell me like that. I'm so disappointed. Does the Lord even care about me? Does he really even know I exist? Those are the words I was asking. When I realized what the email was, I realized this is not the kind you reply by writing. So I sent him my telephone number and said, now, ring, we talk on the phone. I think he rang, and then I realized it may take a bit of money, so I rang him with my own money so that we talk. And I was able to tell them, your life is in God's hands. Here you are thinking that he has forgotten you. No, he hasn't forgotten you. He only knows that girl is the wrong girl. And here you are wanting to marry the wrong girl. Sure, if he really loves you, is he going to allow you? So he made her put it in such tough language, you will never try again. Because you see the others who say, let me pray about it. Now, that will say you are. But you know she's not interested in you. I'm talking about sisters, some of them are here. It's a bad thing. Don't do that to your brother again. Tell him openly, you are not interested. Don't say, I'm praying, and you know you are not. Now, but anyway, I was trying to show him. I was trying to show him that the Lord was good to him. He could have met a girl who is trying to tell him, let me pray. And so he would waste all his time. Now he was told straight. Number two, he needs to understand, if that girl is beautiful, she is God's manufactured product. And where he was manufacturing that one, he is still in the business of manufacturing others. So if this one doesn't work, does that stop him getting another one? Number three, if you actually get somebody to marry and you are a fourth year, how will you marry her? You need to know you are not yet ready. So, would you have wanted the Lord to give you, he knows you are not ready, and wants to give you a wife in advance? Are you aware that in the Bible there is no girlfriend? From Genesis to Revelation, you can't pray, God, give me a girlfriend. No, it is not that. You know, you are supposed to pray according to God's word. Are we together? You can't pray like that because there's no girlfriend. The only thing you can pray for is a wife. You can't pray for a girlfriend. And the only thing you can pray for is a husband. You can't pray for a boyfriend. It's not the scriptures. And if you know it is there, please correct me. I'm ready to be corrected. There's nothing like that. So I say it now. When you ask tell God a girlfriend, he knows you mean a wife. What about if he took you seriously? And you have not even finished campus. It is important to understand when you are ready to marry, God will give you somebody to marry. That's the subject of my most recent book, which I hope you can get to, because I'll not spend the time. Remember, my job today is to prepare you for a career, for working. And so this book handles that. I call it Finding a Life Partner. And I try to show you that you don't have to choose. Don't struggle choosing a life partner. God has already chosen one for you. Your job is to do what? To find the one God has already chosen. Are we together? Yeah, it's important now, but I don't have the time today to deal with it. But I hope you'll be able to pick a copy and get that one. So I was able to show the young man that, and suddenly his peace of mind came back, that the Lord loves him. But the Lord loves him so much, he cannot give him the wrong God. Are we together? And he's able. The same thing with you. The Lord loves you. But he knows for a while you need some lessons in tamacology. You know? Art of tamaki. You know what is to tamak? You know what is to tamak? Yeah. So, he is making sure you will not get a job until it is time to graduate out of the school of tamacology. So people are wondering, why not get a job? You will not get a job because it's not yet time to get a job. When the Lord chooses his time, you'll be surprised how easy. And you wonder, but I've been here before. They never told me they had a vacancy. But when it is time for God to open, and that's what I shared with this brother, that young man, wanting me to mentor him. That your career, your life is God's business, if only you allow him. So he gave his life to the Lord. That is last month. We talked together today because he's in Mombasa, and allowing him to find out how he is moving. The same thing with you here. If you want a life that is going to be fulfilling, contented, from now as a young person into the future, at least I can look back the last almost 40 years, and I can tell you, when you put your life into God's hands, there will not be a single disappointing day. You have a spirit of contentment right throughout your life. That does not mean you will not stay like me 8 years on one job. But you will not suffer, you will not be frustrated, because you are aware when it is time, God will open the job of promotion. Because promotion either comes from the east or the west, it comes from God. Are you together? So you are not frustrated. The same way now, when you are still tamacking. You are not going to be frustrated. Because you will be able to understand, I'm in God's school of pharmacology. And as soon as it's time to graduate, he'll open a door and I will graduate. Because maybe there is something he wants you to do in life later that can only be done by somebody who has stomach. So if you try to go earlier, you'll not be able to do what God is planning for your life. Are we together? So I hope you'll be able to pick that book and try to understand that when you give your life to the Lord, it's not to become a pastor. He can use you, like me in the oil industry. Before I went to the oil industry, I used to work for a bank, for a development bank. Irrespective of your career, that's what I tried to demonstrate through the book. Irrespective of your career, God can walk with you in the career God intends for you. And you'll enjoy every moment of your professional life, because you'll not just be serving man, you'll be serving God. Those of you with the Bible, please open for me Colossians chapter 3, verse 16 to the end of the chapter. Colossians chapter 3. Anybody carry? These days your Bible's in the mobile, isn't it? Yes. Pastor has offered to read, but I would wish somebody at the back to read. Anybody? Anybody with the Bible? Just stand up and read. Colossians chapter 3. Stand up and read loudly. Colossians chapter 3, from verse 16.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 16. Let the word of God.
You need a mic. Come and pick it. Yeah. You know me, God has given me a loud voice, so thank you for offering to me. Now read.
Colossians chapter 3,
verse 16. Let the word of God, Christ, dwell in you richly, as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom, and as you sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs with gratitude in your hearts to God. And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him.
Repeat verse 17.
Okay, verse 17. And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him.
Verse 23.
Verse 23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for men, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Jesus Christ you are serving.
Are you getting it? He is talking, thank you very much. He is talking about servants, slaves, engineers, lawyers. He is telling them, it is the Lord you are serving. Remember, the subject is not about preaching. He is talking about workers and their masters. Just read the whole of the chapter, Colossians 3, chapter 3, you'll see the context. Now, there's nothing about preaching. The message I want you to get is, number one, you should not do a job which you cannot say you are serving the Lord. Because Colossians 3:17 says, whatever you do must only be the thing in which you can say, I'm doing this in the name of the Lord. So if somebody offers you a job to become a prostitute, you must ask yourself as you are practicing prostitution, say, I'm doing this in the name of the Lord. If you can't say that, don't accept the job. Are we together? So it's important to understand the message is, if it is God's job, it must be a job which you can do in the name of the Lord. If the BAT offers you a job, as a messenger or as an accountant, you must be able to say, I am helping fulfill the vision of BAT in the name of the Lord. As more people get cancer, I'm doing it in the name of the Lord. If you can't say that, then you can't join them. Are we together? Yes. Am I clear? So there are many jobs which you cannot do, simply because if you want God to help you in your future career, then don't enter into jobs which you cannot say, I'm doing this in the name of the Lord. Is it breweries? And you can say, I am the marketing manager of breweries. Every week, I'm performing better and better. More and more people are getting, more and more families are getting broken. In the name of the Lord. Now, if you can't say that, will you work there? You see, some people say, but I'm only an accountant. I don't sell beer. I'm only an accountant. An accountant in breweries, what is his special job? Is to ensure there is enough funds so that there is enough alcohol every bar in the whole country. They even develop stock management systems that ensure there is every warehouse has enough beer so that nobody wants beer who does not get alcohol. So as an accountant, your job is to ensure there's enough beer so that enough people can get drunk. Oh, but you tell me I'm not a messenger, I sweep the place. Why do you sweep it? So that there is no dust in the alcohol. So it can be clean alcohol. Are you getting my point? That's why you're keeping the place clean. So that the alcohol can be clean, so that people can get drunk. So you need to understand in that way that any career which you cannot say you are serving God, which you cannot say you are doing in the name of the Lord, then you can't expect God's help in doing it. So do not assume that every job available is your job. There are many jobs which you cannot take if you don't want to do it on your own. If you want God to enter into it with you, it will be important to understand there are jobs you cannot do. So please understand clearly that working for the Lord is not preaching. That there are things you can do. For example, the one who built this place was not a preacher. But we are now using it, isn't it? The same thing with the one who built the Kenyatta Conference Center. But by constructing Kenyatta Conference Center, he has helped many international conferences to be held here. Are we together? So you need to understand that when we say we are serving God, it does not mean we are doing something for God. We are doing something for man in order to honor God. You know, man, the Kikuyus, I come from Central Province. Whenever I was told by my grandfather, whenever there was drought, they would go and sacrifice at the Mugumo tree, slaughter a goat, and then hang the meat on the Mugumo branches, then disappear. They come the following day, and God has eaten the meat. Do you believe God ate the meat? It's not just the hawks, and the hyenas and the leopards ate it. Now, by feeding the leopards, which belong to God, they had sacrificed to God. Am I communicating? So you need to understand there is absolutely nothing you can do for God directly. Because God is self-sufficient. He doesn't require anything from any man. So whatever you hear, whenever you hear we are serving God, we are not actually doing anything for God. We are doing, okay, for you to choose to be a pastor. What work of a pastor? Does the pastor ever do anything for God? When he comes to a family where they are fighting, they are changing each other, don't the formula. And he is able to help them to be together, and they stop fighting, their children are in a better home. How does God benefit? Does God benefit? Does God benefit in any way? No. Who benefits? The children of that home, the wife of that home who's doing the formula will no longer be changed. They are all benefiting. So you need to understand in your mind that serving God does not mean doing anything for God. It is doing something for man. So all careers are all about people. Every career you take is about people. How to help people be better looked after. If you're a farmer, it's in order to feed you with people. If you're an engineer, in order to create facilities for people to work better, to make their life easier. If you are a teacher, it's in order to drive ignorance out of people's children. If you are which other career are you thinking about? If you're an accountant, in order to calculate for people who don't know how to count, but they need to understand their figures. Every career is serving man in order to honor God. Now once you understand that, then it means, which is my first point, which I told this boy last month, it is important then to understand that if you are going to serve God in serving man, and that's your desire, then it's in God's interest, for the sake of his people, to give you a job to do. Are we together? So you need to understand that your drive is not to get money, but you get money in the process. Your drive is to help people solve their own problems. The reason anybody pays you is not to do you a favor. It's because you have sorted out his problem. I've just come in a car. If it has a problem, I've never been a mechanic. I don't know how to repair. So if you begin your own garage, it's so that you can sort out my problem. And so that I can serve God. So you are serving the car in order to serve me, in order to serve God. Am I communicating? So that's the first thing I wanted you to understand. And that's what my book actually says. That it will be important, very, very important, that you understand that as a Christian, whatever career you do must be a career that honors God. But I've also mentioned that if you are going to be a professional with success, you must know how to relate with the opposite sex. And you must relate with them in such a way that it doesn't end up snapping your career at the wrong time. I've told you I have many, many cases of people that are totally messed up because they could not manage to zip up. And you see, you are saying, oh, that's a problem. But one of the big problems that almost brought down Clinton, were you old enough? Those of you who are that or thereabout to remember Clinton. And a girl called Lewinsky. Everybody, do you remember Lewinsky? Was a young girl, not your age, younger, because she was a university student, and she becomes an intern. This is a president of the US. And that girl was able to play around with the Clinton like a child. Now, sometimes people think that the men are the stronger sex, the stronger gender, and they call the women the weaker. A lie. Just see how many men have been brought down by girls, at the age of their daughter. Small girl plays around with you until, sometimes you even see it in the office. But like a small girl who just came for internship is in control of the MD. The problem of the MD is that he doesn't know how to relate with the opposite sex. Many women have been messed up completely because they are unable to know how to deal with a boss without being immoral. So, because the boss is promoting you, when he tells you, can I take you out? You say yes. That's not in your job description. Going out with a man is not part of the job description. And you know something? As soon as you agree to go out with him, he knows you are not serious. Because he wonders, who else are you also going with? Because that's all, he's an old man. So if he can accept me, all the other boys must have been accepted earlier. So he no longer has a big value for you. Am I communicating? You thought you are helping by agreeing to go out. But the day you go out with him once, first of all, remember, he'll not be happy if you just go with him, you have a cup of tea, and then you want to go home. Now, surely that's wasting. You have just teased him. Now, he wants more than a cup of tea, and after all, he's paying for it. What will be the payment for his money? He has invested in taking you out. He is a rich man. You must pay, isn't it? Now, so if you really are a fair girl, you don't want to pay, isn't it? Now, in agreeing to pay, am I communicating? You have messed your career in the name of trying to pay in kind since you don't have money. Now, it's important to understand clearly that if you don't know, remember, my objective is to try to help you to be a success in your career, in your profession. It will not be possible if you don't know how to say no nicely. Are we together? Yeah, somebody says, can I take you out? I'm already taken out. Now, you need to understand, he needs to understand you have been taken out. You are not lonely. He's not dealing with a problem you have. But you don't say it, but you don't hurt him. But he knows you are not the type. That's why a Christian girl, less people know she's a Christian way in advance. You know, when they discover you're a Christian girl, the new girl is a Christian, say, oh, how unfortunate. What a waste. Couldn't they have employed somebody better? Now, but you see, in trying to feel like that, that protects you, isn't it? Because all the hyenas that were aiming at you, say, surely, this is not me. Now, you need to understand clearly. When you are unable to make your stand as a beginning, as a girl, you have simply messed up your life. Remember, this man who wants to take you out has no idea who you are. Do not assume that he is 45 and you are the first girl for him to take out. Surely. Isn't that naive to assume that? So he must have taken other people out. Now, if he has been taking people out, chances that he has HIV/AIDS are also very high. Because he told me, Brother Nanga, that he is so healthy. I agree. In these days of having what is that medicine called? ARVs. He'll still be fat, isn't it? He'll pass the HIV to you, but he himself, you still look healthy. Remember, they say, whenever you sleep with one man, you have slept with 16. Have you heard that one? Have you read that one? That you see, if you sleep with this man, and he has slept with one person, who has also slept with another person, who slept with another person, and slept with another person, about 16 people are sleeping with you in bed, or you are sleeping with one man. Because all of them, any one of those 16 in the permutation, if they have HIV/AIDS, they may be carriers, and you'll be the sick one. Am I communicating? So that you need to understand, that one man, don't worry about him. He looks fat. But who else has he slept? And who else has that other one also slept? And who are you getting the point? So you need to understand that if you don't know how to deal with your relationships with the people in the opposite sex, especially your bosses, when you're young, it will mess up your career. Because once the rumor goes, you are the boss's girl, nobody wants to touch you. Am I right? Even learning your career will be a problem because they don't know how to deal with it. And it will be very, very, very important. The third thing I wanted you to get is, I've written a book called A Leader's Source of Influence. And one of the chapters is called Self-Management. Learning how to manage yourself. One of the things I deal with is time management. And I'm saying, if you want to be a successful person, 3 things have to follow in self-management. Number 1, you must be clear about your life's purpose. Why were you born? What is it you want to achieve? Because the job you do should help you to achieve the God-given purpose for your life. If you want to know my purpose, you can go to my website. If you are digital, may I tell you my website? You go to www.johnganga.org. That is www.johnganga.org. I say Ganga because I've removed the apostrophe on the G. Now if you go there, you will see that I give my life's purpose, which is what has been guiding me for the last more than 40 years. I think it's important that you find out that, because when you do, it reduces you are looking everywhere. It helps you to see, can this job meet my purpose? I don't have enough time to deal with it, but that is a very, very important thing if you're going to do it in your career. Know what is your purpose. Let me tell you 3 things that are wrong when you don't operate within your purpose. Number 1, when you don't operate within your purpose, then you are just simply trying to get money. The job becomes very boring. Anybody can do any job anywhere. But when you do a job which is not within your life purpose, you don't enjoy it, therefore you feel a lot of boredom. Number 2, when you do a job simply for money, you are like to do it well. Therefore, it will be difficult for you to progress in your career because you are not performing at your very best. Number 3, when you don't operate within your purpose, you will spend a lot of time in a career then drop it. Because somehow it will be so frustrating, you may even end up suffering from stomach ulcers. So somewhere in your 30s, your 40s, you have to drop it and begin all over again. So you need, at a very early age, to understand what makes you tick. Who are you? Why are you created? Nobody was created for nothing. And the reason you are created is not the reason I was created. Don't try to be like me, because even if you try to be like me, the trouble will be that you cannot be Nganga as good as Nganga can be Nganga. I'll get my point. So, just like I cannot be you, Atieno, as much as Atieno can be Atieno. So you need to find out what is the purpose for Atieno. What is it that you're supposed to be? Now, let me again, without going into details, because I'll not be able to spend enough time, there are 3 things that can help you to know your purpose. Number 1, what are your interests? Your interests. And I'll spend a bit of time on it. What are your interests? Because in knowing your interests, if you work within the general area of interest, you are likely to enjoy what you are doing, and you are likely to do well. Number 2, what are your gifts? Sometimes the things you are interested in, you have no gift. Like somebody who wants to become a speaker, he wants to even even wants to be one of the broadcasters. But they speak English in Kikuyu. I say Kikuyu in English. Now, whatever they say, people laugh more than they listen. So they have no idea what they are saying. Now you need to understand, you might have interest, but you don't have gifting. If God wants you to be involved in a certain area, He will give you both interest and gifting. It is not, you cannot create an interest. It is something that comes natural. You can understand. It's like, just like I'm a man. If I go assume all men are interested in whether Manu beat Celsius or who are the other people. Now, I have no interest at all. I keep asking, surely, if 2 teams from Britain are fighting and 1 wins, how does that affect Kikuyu? Now, I don't understand why people, and you hear some people commit suicide. Have you heard of it? It doesn't make sense to me. Now, you need to understand that I therefore don't think there's something wrong with you. We just are different, isn't it? When Kenya is running, even if they are running at 2 a.m., my wife knows I'll be left watching to see. That I'm interested. I'm interested maybe because they win, and in football they don't. But for some reason, that's where my interests are. And there's nothing wrong with me, and there's nothing wrong with God created us different. So don't assume that what you're happy with is what somebody else will be happy with. And that's what a lot of us parents are messed up with. They think you will become a lawyer, but you don't have interest in arguing in court. It doesn't improve your stature. I mean, you just wonder why 2 people are sweating. Now, but there are people that is the area of interest. So I keep encouraging parents. Remember, God did not create that girl for you to mess her up. It will be important for God who created her to tell her what she is interested in. And it's important to understand. So as we talk about careers and jobs, please ask yourself, what are my interests? Then what are my gifts? What am I gifted in? So if you list the things you are gifted in and list the things that you are interested in or things you enjoy doing, you will discover there is a permutation, there is an intersection. There are some things you are both gifted and you are also interested in. Then you discover there are many things you are gifted in, but you are not interested. Sometimes, for you, every time you do math, you get an A. Anytime, until your parents think you are going to become an engineer. But you think about engineering, sorry, Mr. Duku, I may wonder, surely, just dealing with materials. That's a boring thing to do the whole of your life. So if you are a civil engineer, it means digging on the road, and surely even my mother can dig without education. That's the way you think about it. So although you are good in mathematics, and you can actually get a PhD in engineering, you have no interest in the actual work of engineering. Are we together? So it's important to combine the two. What are my interests? And my book talks about that. Discovering your life purpose. Thirdly, it's not just what you are interested in and what you are gifted in, there is also the sense of conviction. And that's where you need to be able to pray to God. Because conviction is a spiritual thing. So you have 3 lists. Things you have a conviction you should be doing, things you enjoy doing, things you are gifted in doing. So you have to look for something that fits, that is a tension between the 3. Something that you are interested in, you are gifted in, and you have a conviction, God is calling you to do it. Are we together? Yes. You cannot go by conviction if there is no interest, because you will not do it well. And if it's really God convicting you, He will also give you the interest, and He also give you the giftings. Are we together? Yes. If you are from 2, then you have just failed biology with chlorine colors. It will be important not to insist you are going to become a doctor. Because if God wanted you to be a doctor, He will make you pass in your biology. Am I right? So you need to understand that this is, people want to hear God saying, "Ah, says the Lord, I'm talking." No, that's not the way He talks. He creates circumstances and giftings that show you the direction you should be going. Are we together? Yes. But the third one is, if you learn how to, and my book has a chapter on how to hear God, how to discover God's voice, how to know God's will. Okay, you may think it's so that you know who to marry, but it's also to know which career to take. So that expect, even if you're not interested in marriage, pick the book to read the chapter on how to hear God's voice, how to know God is talking to you. It will be an important chapter to read. Although in the book I actually say it's not just about marriage, it's about whatever you're doing. So it's important you learn that. So the first thing, and I want to spend a bit of time just on this issue of purpose. But let me just start by saying, the first, initially, one of the things he will show you is whether you are employment material or employer material. That's the first thing you need to sort out. There are people who are so interested in managing themselves that if they are ever managed by somebody else, they will change the dental formula of the boss. Now, so that we don't end up jailed, the best thing is don't get employed. Are we together? So among those things you need to check, what do you hear? Let me tell you several things about people who are entrepreneurial material. Entrepreneurial material are people who don't like being employed. There is something in you that surely, if you can employ, I can also employ. So why should I be employed? Now, if that's the way you feel, it will be very dangerous to get employed. Because if you get employed, 3 things will happen. You are likely to become violent. You feel like the other person has no right to be directing you. Number 2, which is very important, you are likely to steal. Because you see, you are doing a lot of work, The person gets 1,000,000 shillings and your salary is 50,000. This is unfair. He was not even here. I'm the one who made 1,000,000. What right has he got to take all of that? So you feel like I'm even justified. You take the money and you don't feel like a thief. You feel like I'm justified to be taking the money. Now, because the day you are caught, you have a room in committee, isn't it? And it all came because you try to be employed when you should be self-employed or become an employer. Are we together? Yes. So that's the first thing you need to sort out. There is a problem currently because a lot of emphasis on people being self-employed is there. In fact, we are getting to the level where you are even made to apologize if you get employed. Am I right? Everybody wants you to be entrepreneur. Am I right?
That's right.
That's total nonsense. God has not created all of us to be self-employed. God has not created for all of us to be entrepreneurs. Why? If all of us became entrepreneurs, the only business would have a kiosk. Because there will be nobody to employ, isn't it? Everyone wants to employ themselves. Nobody wants to be employed by another. So all of us will have a line of kiosks. So never, the next time somebody tells you that all of us should be entrepreneurs, ask them, then which business can we employ except kiosk? So it means God has created them in such a way that it's very unlikely, and I don't have the research facts, but it's very unlikely that more than 10% can be entrepreneurs. So that the other 9 people can become employed. So that the businesses can be big business. Are we together? Yes. But because of people that are misguiding youth, they are kind of pushing for everybody to go into it. And so we are hearing that out of every 10 businesses started, 9 fail within a year. Why? Not because business is difficult, but because people who should be employed are becoming employers. Am I communicating? So do not go into entrepreneurship because your mother said it. And God, don't go into entrepreneurship because everybody's emphasizing. Find out from within you. Is that God's calling on your life? It is not right. And it's nowhere in the world, in the history of the world. America is one of the, something called, you're part of the American dream. It's people starting on their own. And everybody is told you can always reach the top. That's why Obama, who is a Kenyan, became president. Because the American dream means anybody can rise to whichever level, depending on your gift and your hard work. Very good. But most of the Americans are employed. Are you hearing me? The majority of Americans are employed. That's why they're able to have such big businesses. You know, my wife and I, this was our 37th year in marriage. We were married in 1979. So we've been married for more than 36 years. So but at least the last 20, both of us have been involved in marital counseling young. When I say young people, they may have been married for that year, so they're not that necessarily that young. But people come ask us for help. One of the biggest things I have seen in marriage is when the wife believes she's an entrepreneur and starts business, and they collapse one after. But she doesn't want to believe she can be employed. So the brother finally asks, all my salary is going to a whole called your business. So we are there for living at a much lower level. We can't buy a house, we can't buy this. Say, but I'm an entrepreneur. I remember another couple who were counseling the other day, and I kept telling the business one, how much money has your business made in the last 4 years? Say, I don't know. Now, if you don't know, why you continue to do it? And because the person is ICT type, says, no, figure doing account is not my area. But the spouse is a qualified CPA. So I said, why don't you allow, between now and our next session, let your spouse, I'm not telling whether it's a he or a she, let your spouse be there to look through, just give all your papers, invoices, vouchers, give a heap of them in a carton to the spouse. They'll produce a report. Then you'll know whether you're making money or... Because the spouse was saying, all my salary is going into this business. I've tried to tell him it is not a business, because business is not an eater. It's a creator of wealth. Am I right?
Yes.
So you cannot keep calling yourself a businessman when it is your spouse that is sponsoring you. You are like a permanent student. You know, students, at least students are allowed to eat money, isn't it? But once you are a grown up, you cannot continue doing something and then somebody else is supporting you. Are you getting my point? And a lot of people who are claiming to be business people, their spouses or their parents, you keep telling Papa, it's not working, say more. Now, surely you should be embarrassed. He helped you to go through school and you finish a degree, isn't it? Why should you ask for more money? If you're a businessman, you don't rely on other people. You rely on yourself. It's okay for the business to start small, but not negative. The business should not start negative. Of course, I agree it should be that it can start small, not negative. So I'm telling you all of that to tell you, do not listen to this nonsense that all of us should become entrepreneurs. Let me tell you an example. I lived in Kisumu, looking at after all the petrol stations in the Western Province and Nyanza Province. So I have managed many petrol stations from Shamahoho to Migori, Sarayawedo. I know Nyanza and Western more than I know Central because I drove all of them. But I'm not about to take a petrol station to run because that's not my calling. Are we together? You know, I could help. I would sit to the petrol station guy, advise him, and he can turn around his business. He does well. But I know I'm unlikely to stay there. You know, if you're a petrol station owner, it means you wake up very early in the morning, otherwise they will steal money from you, isn't it? Then you sit there when the lorry is bringing fuel, and you must climb the lorry. Are we together? You don't climb, and your attendant and the driver will tell you tumetoa yote, and half of it is left in the tank. So you need to understand, many of the oil company managers at a retirement go into running petrol stations, and all of them are closed within the 5 years. They lose so much money, even their pensioners, they are finally able to return the keys to the owner of the petrol station. So do not assume that because you are a manager and an expert, that there is something about entrepreneurship that's unique. That's why you require gifting. 3 things about entrepreneurship. Number 1, you are a risk taker. Some of us are risk averse. You cannot be an entrepreneur unless you are a risk taker. Because in economics they say the higher the risk, the higher the profit. The lower the risk, the less the profit. So if you really want to make money, you must also take a big risk. That's an economic term. That's why you find in a kiosk, you find in a near your place, there are 5 milk kiosks. Why? There's no risk, but then there is no money also. So if you really want to make money, you must go to risky business. So if you're the type who every night feels like I'm collapsing, if the business will collapse now, you'll also collapse before the business. So it's important to be somebody, God, the way God has created you, you are a risk taker. Number 2, you have a creative mind. You look at somebody and you can tell what they need. Remember, business is serving God by serving man. Are we together? You look at people, they have long hair, you say, I need to keep a barber shop here. Because their hair is too long. But you have to convince them that long hair is not good. Then they can start coming to your barber shop. So you must see a need. I think about it. The story is told about Mr. Butter. You know Butter Shoe is owned by a person in Canada called Mr. Butter. He sent somebody to Africa about 60 years ago. And he went all over Africa, West Africa, East Africa. He went back to Canada and said, sorry, no need of establishing a shoe business in Africa. They don't wear any shoes. After some time, Mr. Butter sent somebody else who came and found exactly the same facts. Nothing had changed. He went back to Canada, and he told Mr. Butter, there we go. There's a very big market. Those people don't wear any shoes. Now, they are looking at the same thing. But one is a risk taker. Because he says there's people without shoes, and they are thorns all over. You know, have you gone to Masai Land? See, there are no roads and people are passing through, and they are on the trees, isn't it? these people need shoes. They may need cheap shoes, but they must have shoes. And even cheap shoes, volume enough, will give us the right money. That's how the butter came to Africa. So you need to understand that if you're an entrepreneur, you look at something, other people see problems, you see money. Am I communicating? Because you can see how you can change that need. You go to your home village, and everybody is going 5 kilometers to get kerosene from far. And you say, wait a minute. They are paying transport to go to the town. If I brought kerosene in drums in my village, nobody would agree to go to take the motorbike to go. So you hire a lorry. You have no money of your own. You just hire a lorry to carry 10 drums. And outside a shop, you start with a small pump. You say, kuja, kuja, kuja. And you know, you have calculated how much it costs you to bring the drums to your village. Then you add a profit margin. People are so happy to say, the son of so-and-so has really sorted our problem. Now we can cultivate. Instead of spending all our time going to there, now they are happy with you, but they're also happy going to the bank. Am I communicating? Yes. That's the eye of an entrepreneur. He looks at the problems and creatively thinks about solution. If you are the type who follows instructions, please be employed. Are we together? So the entrepreneur will think you manage for him. Are we together? Now, so that's very important. If you are going to be an entrepreneur, you must have a creative mind. Thirdly, and importantly, you must be somebody with an insatiable desire to make wealth. Insatiable desire to make wealth. The trouble with the entrepreneur is that sometimes he hates gold. Within no time, his friends are earning 100,000 shillings a month. He's earning 10 million. He's likely to sleep peacefully. Now, but a proper entrepreneur never gets enough money. He gets 10 million, he says, surely I can make 100 million. He gets 100 million, he says, but surely they are billionaires, why not me? Now, you need to have that desire to continuously expand. Are you getting my point? That's the material for an entrepreneur. And you need to understand, an entrepreneur does not require capital. He is so creative, he doesn't require capital. So once you have an idea, for example, you have an idea about kerosene in your village, and you have no money. You just go to the shopkeeper and tell him, by the way, do you know we can make money here? How? He didn't have any idea, isn't it? So they say, why don't you give me some money and I demonstrate to you? Once he believes you, of course you must be somebody trustworthy. You bring the first lot and he's supervising. He's even the one collecting money. He sees that out of investing 100,000, you have made 20,000. He is going to, and you have made your profit out of it yourself. You pay back his money. What happens? You now have enough money to start ordering. Then you can now go to that guy and he gives you what is called supply credit. Because that petrol station now, you bought so much, they have been selling kerosene, 5 liters, 5 liters. You are buying 5 drums at a go. 20,000 liter drums times 5 is 100,000 liters, isn't it? All the petrol stations in your town will be wanting to get you, isn't it? So you say, how many days credit will you give me? No, I'm not giving you. It's okay, I'll go to another one. No, don't go. Because the kind of business they are making is also high, isn't it? So you can start a business with a creative mind without any capital. Are we together? Yes. Or you go to a town there and discover that they don't have any toilet paper. Because obviously the leaves are good enough. But it's dry season. The leaves are dry. And you just tell them, by the way, there's a kind of paper that's not affected by the drought. What is that? I'll show you. You come to Nairobi and tell somebody who is selling toilet paper, I can buy, how many toilet paper do you sell per day? 10. I can buy about your 1 month's purchase that I'll go. Are you sure? Yes, just trust me. I have no money, but I will take it there. If it doesn't sell, I'll return it. And you can even keep this coat of mine, because you have nothing else. You go there, people discover that they don't have to struggle with the toilet. They have their toilet paper. And all of a sudden, you have a new business. Am I communicating? That's right. So you need to understand that if you are going to be an entrepreneur, you then do it without any Money. The only thing is, you do not go by the career you are trained in the university. You go by the need that God is allowing you to see. Are you together? And you'll be able to start. So what are the needs? Even not in your own village, where you are staying in Nairobi, there's a need that causes people to come to town center, isn't it? What can you do that will sort out that need? Then you become an entrepreneur. And you will not need to be employed. So I've just said, I've given you 3 things. But the initial one is that your calling? If it's not your calling, please continue looking for a job to get employed. It will be very important that you deal with it. So that will be critical. Now, however, it will be important that if you are not an entrepreneur, then you will be thinking in terms of looking for work. Now, if you are going to look for work, then you must have something called a CV. A CV is a marketing document. Who are you selling? Yourself. You must see yourself as a product. I know you did engineering, but you must be a marketer. But you're not marketing product. You're marketing yourself. And the best way to ever market anything is to put yourself in the shoes of the people that are buying. What are they looking for? And you write a CV in a way that will make the person. The work of a CV is not to get you employment, but to get you shortlisted for employment. Am I communicating? Nobody employs people on the basis of a CV, but they always shortlist on the basis of a CV. That's why you must prepare your CV as a marketing document. If you are the boss and wanting to employ, what are 3 or 4 things that you want to know a person? Number 1, you want to know that person is healthy. Don't buy to tell somebody sick. That's why these days people are putting their picture, especially if it's a work that you related. Like if you want to be an air hostess, you can't write a CV without putting your picture there, so they can see, and you a smiling one, so they can see whether your dental formula is okay. Now you need to understand that you must ask what are they looking for. Then on the basis, that's why you cannot have one CV. You are supposed to have a master CV with all the information about you, which you extract depending on which job you are dealing with. When you want a job for a Christian organization, you talk about the places you have preached. Those are the ones that will be in the CV, isn't it? Because that's the kind of person they are looking for. If you are going to somebody who is a Muslim, all that is left in the master CV. You now talk about what does he actually want. Because you are selling yourself. That's why I don't have one CV that you give everybody. Always ask what are you interested in. And you tweak your CV on the basis of the market. So I encourage young people to keep a big 20-page CV. Anything you have ever done, put it there. Anything you have ever been interested in, put it there. Then, so because when you are being asked to give a CV, you don't have enough time. So you can forget something very important. So you need a master CV, because that's where you extract what is relevant to the job at hand. Am I clear? Because you see, some people give you a CV, and because it was written for another place, you now can't shortlist them. And now, unfortunately, with the CV, I can't ask CV a question, can I? I'm just relying on it. So you need to be aware about it. So have a master CV, then you extract a CV to fit into that. But there are several things any employer will want, and I was involved in recruitment for Shell for many years. Number 1, you want to find out is that somebody is bright enough. That's why it will be important for you to put in your CV your academic background. What have you achieved? What prizes have you gotten to show that you are good at it? However, don't bother telling me where you went to primary school. I do not believe it will help you. If you're a graduate, beyond high school, the rest of it is just a joke. To know that you got 3 years, whatever the points you got at primary school is not the issue. Most likely, my emphasis will be what did you get in high school and university. You can still put the primary, but maybe to show the post that you come from his village. But it is important to understand he is not looking at the way you used to be, he's looking at the way you are now. So the university degree is very, very, very important to us if you have done, or college, whatever it is you have actually done. So because I want to know, by the way, remember, the degree is not because you are going to do something related to the degree. The day you graduated, they told you, I give you power. Power to do what? To read. That means earlier you are reading legally. Once you graduate, it's time to start reading legally. So the idea is, the first time I attended a graduation was 1974. And I couldn't believe, because of those days, remember, the university, so the chancellor of the president himself, the old man, Mr. Kenyatta. I said, what is he telling them? Power to read? Have they been reading illegally? So I really thought about it in 1974. That's when I realized what he was telling them is now it has been proved you have capacity to study. You don't even have to remain in that career. You can go to any career. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Don't allow your first degree to dictate where you are going. The first degree, the work of first degree is to show you have a proper head. Are we together? Now you can move totally to a new career that has nothing to do with your first degree. Am I communicating? So the reason why you are showing what you have passed is that to know you have a disciplined mind. You can be trained. Most of the things I have done since I left campus have very little to do with the things I learned in campus. They taught us calculus. I've never seen the calculus. And even if I needed calculus, it's in a computer program. Are we together?
Yes.
So you struggle as a student, but it's not really done in the real world. Even an engineer like this can tell you many of the things he studied. After 5 years, he has known some of them he has never even touched. So it's important to understand the first degree is simply to know that you have a disciplined mind. You can be trained in any area. But that's the first thing, the CV. So the CV, anyway, the CV then must have a section called academic performance. The other thing I'm interested in is your experience and your gifting. Now, you have two alternatives in writing a CV. You can either tell me the years of experience, or you can be what is called competence. So the second section could be competences. Competence means things I'm able to do, things I'm competent in doing. So the first one is academic performance, the other one is competence or experience, or work experience. Now for you, who has just left campus, chances that you have experience is very slim. Am I right? So I would rather you turn it into competencies, things you are capable of doing. For example, I'm an organizer. Proof, because you must you write competence, organizer. Says, organize my sister's wedding. Remember, that is a proof. In the interview, they'll ask you, and you'll be able to show them. My sister trusted me to organize the whole thing. And you know, in real work, you're required to have organizing skills. Am I right? So between somebody who says I have a BSc and one who organized our sister's wedding, who are you likely to take? The one who has organized, isn't it? So you need to write your CV in such a way your competencies can actually be seen and you actually have evidence. You can say, I'm gifted in leading teams. Which team did you lead? I was the one who led the mission to Garissa, with 120 students, connecting with our Shabab that were in the area, and ensuring the students will come back to Nairobi without dying. Now, that's a lot of experience. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
So, and that's why some of the students, what the students fail. Because a lot of students think that the employer is looking for experience. He knows you graduated the other day. He's looking for competence. And you can get the competence without a salary. Am I right? All those things are giving you skills and competencies. But you're not earning a salary. Or maybe after you Form 4, you are the one who ran your mother's shop, isn't it? You didn't get a salary. But you learned how to count cash, isn't it? You can handle retail cash and you know how to convince customers to buy. So you say, competent in retailing. Evidence. Ran my mother's shop for 3 months. Is that evidence? Yes. But remember during the interview, you want to grill down. But when I'm choosing who to select, both have BSc, I'll choose the one who ran the mother's shop. So your CV must show why the guy should take you and not another. Because on your academic performance, both of you are equal. You're not looking at competence. What has he got? And many things you have, you don't. In fact, in Shell, we used to ask you, tell us your achievements. In fact, we used to say, Taylor, give me 5 of your non-academic achievements. Because you know you're already a graduate. So you don't want academic. And then people struggle. They have never achieved anything. Because they spent all their life studying. They were never interested in anything else. The mother says, run the shop. He says, no, I'm an academic. Now, you need to understand, and I'm talking to you too late. But you have your brothers and your sisters, isn't it? Let them know that the working life requires these non-academic achievements more than the academic ones. I was, by the time I retired, I was in top management, and I was looking after operations. So I had several engineers under me. And you know, the way I would rate one engineer against another will be ability to run a project. None of that is taught in engineering school. The ability to prepare the bill of quantities, that is taught. But how you do it so that the procurement manager agrees to place your tender before another tender is how you relate with the program. The program manager is the secretary to the tender board, isn't it? So one engineer, all his projects are always refused. The other one, he is able to convince the guy that he is so urgent because of this and this reason. So it's put there. When the tender board meets, if they cover the five projects, the 6th one is out, and it will be that guy. So at the end of the year, when I count how many projects this one achieved, the other one didn't, I'll give him, he may only have had a pass in engineering, the other one has first class honors, but the one, since you cannot promote somebody who is not performing, remember a degree always allows you to be employed, doesn't allow you to be promoted. Promotion on the basis of performance, isn't it? So you need to understand it clearly. It is those non-academic achievements that makes an employer pick you, because most of the things are not done by academic side. It is those achievements. Your ability to run a project, your ability to motivate people, your ability to overcome resistance. All those are things, whatever career you take, those are things that you are going to require. The other day I had a funny time. Somebody with an MBA was employed as CEO of an organization which I'm aware about. And he's a Christian. I was very disappointed when I heard what happened. One day they were having a board meeting, and the CEO was told that such and such an organization may be interested in our services. Go there and try to, the CEO knows me, say I have sent you there, and try to see what we can do for them. He went to the gate of that organization, and the Askari said, no. You have an appointment? No, you can't go in. He tried pleading with the Askari refused. So he drove back to wait for the next board meeting to tell them he was unable to go in. The board was mad. Actually, he was fired. He left the company not too long after that. Can you imagine an Askari stopping an MBA from going to an organization? He was asked, did you have a mobile? Yes. Did you call the man? Because you see, as you stand at the gate, you can call the man, and you can, because the mobile will not be affected by the gatekeeper. Am I right? But with a full MBA, he could not think. So he never ran. Now, okay, if you are fearing that one, since I'm the one who referred you to him, why didn't you ring me and tell me I'm at the gate? I would have rang him so that he rings his watchman to allow you in, isn't it? They couldn't believe it. They lost one. Actually, after a number of periods, the company was going down. He was not even fired. He left. You need to understand that degrees do not relate to performance. You require them in order to prove you have a disciplined mind. Once you have the degree, it allows you now to deal with the issues of the day, whatever your career is. Am I communicating?
Yes.
So it's important to understand clearly that section will be very important. So we now have in your CV, we now have your academic performance. You also have your competencies, the things you are good at. List all of them, but now in the master file, you list all of them. But in the actual CV, you only collect what is related related to that degree. So you only do the competencies related with the job. Are we together?
Yes.
And competencies are gotten in ways. For example, if you are a last born, you can say, I'm an aggressive person, able to get things done. Why? I was a last born, and all my brothers would never allow me to eat anything. So to eat anything, I had to fight my way. So you got a competence of being able to fight your way up. Are you getting my point? Or, my father died when I was young. We had no money. We had to team up with my mother to ensure I was able to go on. I went to the TC, I was able to get a scholarship. What did I get? What college did I get? I was able to get resilience. Resilience is ability to go through problems, isn't it? Huh? I was sick in the hospital. For 2 years I could not read. But then I did not want to be left behind. I asked the hospital to allow me to be getting books. And I was able to read. When I got well, I was able to go back to class. It's not resilience. Are you getting the point? Those are the things you need to demonstrate. Of course, if you cheat, remember, anything you write on the CV is dangerous. Interviews, although I'll come to that in a minute, interviews are always on the basis of the CV. When we are going for an interview, I was not HR, but HR would give me the CV of the candidates, and I'm supposed to study it in advance, because the real work of an interview is to verify what is written in the CV. And they're able to catch you when you are putting things. They'll tell you, give me 3 instances where resilience was demonstrated. And you know, you're not looking at your CV. You have it, but you don't have it. Now, you know they say, if you tell the truth, you don't need a good memory. Because you cannot contradict yourself, isn't it? If it's a lie, you need a very good memory. You have to remember what you wrote in there. CV. So it's important that what you are writing is the truth in demonstrating your competence. Number 3, having now put your academic performance, you have put your experience, it will be important to show your interests. They call them hobbies. Why? They want to know whether you have interests that can contradict the job. For example, if your hobby is to drink, and you are being employed in a place where alcohol is available, if you say, my hobby is drinking now, chances that they will employ you is very slim, isn't it? Yeah. In the same way, if you say your hobby is Bible study, and they ask you to sell beer, you have a problem, isn't it? And that's why they want you to write that section of your hobbies and the things you're interested in, to see whether they have no relationship to the job they are in. And then in the final section, you now need to give your biodata. Biodata means your biographic or data. And you must do it in 4 lines. Where you are born, all your names, things that tell us who you are. Are you a girl or a boy? Don't assume people know. You can be Andrew or Andrew, You remember the story of the boy girl. Now, so it's important to ask yourself. And a place like Uganda, men are called Grace. But in Kenya, Grace is a woman's name. Don't assume that people will know you are a woman or a man. You must tell them whether you're a man or a woman. And if you want to tell them, you can tell them whether you are married or not married. But this is information we can work against. So it's important to give as you write to you about that time, it's important. But you must put your telephone number. Because they may select you, they may shortlist you, but then there is no time to email, and there is no time to write post office, snail mail. So you need to put your telephone number. That's why you need to have a mobile. So find a way of buying the 199. It's called being advertised. 999. That way, you have a number. All you need is put 50 shillings regularly. You don't have to write to ring anybody. You just receive calls. So the day they want you to go for the interview, they are able to call you. Now, if you give somebody else's telephone, it depends on whether he is happy with you. Many people have lost their job because of their referees or their ANICO. You expect your ANICO to get you the job, then it says, that's a good job. How can my daughters How can my sister's daughter get it before mine? As he's going through, God, how come my sister is the only one with the good children? As they are struggling, the job has gone, isn't it? So you need to understand something very interesting. Again, I don't have that book. I've written a book on friendship. And in the book, I define who an enemy is. In a book, those of you who may have read the book know what I'm talking about. I say an enemy is a former friend. Nobody is your enemy unless he used to be a friend. So, most of the enemies are your relatives. If nobody knows you at all, they have never seen you, like, I don't think you can be my enemy. Because you have never been friends. But from today, you can be a potential enemy. Now, so I need to know how to treat you. But an enemy is a former friend. And many people have been, there is even somebody who was employed as a manager, straight senior level in Shell. Then his boss wrote Sasa Stinker. You know, he gave his name, the name of his boss as a referee. He wrote such a bad thing, the organization had no problem, had no way but to terminate. You know, during probation, you can be terminated at any time without notice. He was terminated. I was telling our CEO, sure, he's a right player. He says, but Mr. Nanga, I couldn't take him. Not with such a report, and it's from his employer. So you need to understand, most people are messed up by their own referees, which is the final section. So you have, normally you put the biodata at the top, academic performance next, then competencies next, then your interests next, finally you put referees. You recommend at least 3 referees. One referee is called a character referee. Normally pastors are trusted people. Not Kanyari, but generally pastors are trusted people. So you need to look for somebody who is recognized in society as somebody who can be trusted and say he's going to give you a character. That means they can't start asking details about how you work, how you perform. So you need a character referee. Then you need an academic referee if you are just come out graduated. Then you need a work referee. 3 referees. Now if you can't raise it, at least you have 3 referees. But that division is very important. It is somebody you have worked with at one time or another who knows how you work. You know, another one who knows whether you are a Marinkara or you studied properly. But you also need somebody who knows your character. That gives a CV. However, how you format it, don't rely on me. Just go to Microsoft and type the word CV. You give you all kinds of format of CV. And you choose the one you think is more beautiful than the other. Are we together? So that's why I'm not bothering to give you an example, because they are all going to be there. It is you to choose which ones. And they will ask you for other things. Remember, CV means curriculum vitae. Vital importance about me. That's why it must not be more than 2 pages. Never write a CV more than 2 pages. Because it's not a biography. It's a summary. Are we together? The detailed one is hidden, but you must actually, if you're able to get it to 1 page, that's what most people want. Because, for example, when HR is shortlisting, he may have 100 of applications. So he has gone through 100 CVs. So if it is too long, some information they may not see. So it's important to find a way of summarizing it. Maximum 2 pages. Preferable 1 page. Are we together? Yeah. Because any other detail, you give me. Now, once you have done your CV, you must write a forwarding letter to which you attach. And it must be on 1 paragraph long, because the details are in the CV. So here, this is when you say, "Dear sir," reference the vacancies that exist, or possible vacancy in your organization. Possible means you don't know whether it is. Now you put it there, and you say, "I am a lady 10 feet tall." No, not quite. In the sentence, you must introduce yourself, isn't it? I'm a 20-year-old graduate in computer science who is interested in progressing my career in any ICT area, and would be grateful for the opportunity to use my skills to help you meet your objectives. Attached is my CV. Now, if you want to extract something in the CV, look at the vacancy you are looking for and what is the highest. Say, I have competences in this area, like I did this. That will allow you another sentence. You ask it. Now, because you see, before you can go to your CV, it relies on your letter, isn't it? So you need the letter to be so well written. So when you write the letter, do not proofread alone. Give somebody to proofread. After they have proofread, ignore them. Go to a second person to proofread. You know the Bible says everything must be established in the mouth of 2 or 3. Not because the first one was wrong, but it could be wrong. So do not send something that has not been read by somebody else. As long as that somebody else is not a crook. Because he can make you change your letter so that you are not taken. So you need a friend. Are we together? Does that help? Unfortunately, the time I was given is all gone. And I have not even reached the hub. Let me just mention something about interviews. Will you allow me? Yes. So, if your CV is good, it will allow you to be shortlisted. When you are shortlisted, you either be emailed or rang. Rarely are they posting things these days. When they post it, they might give you, or email, they might give you a form to fill, so that instead of using your CV, they want their own format. Are we together? So some organization will give you a form to fill. Make sure what you put in the form is similar to what is on the CV. One of the most important things in an interview is finding out whether the guy is a liar. Integrity is the biggest check in an interview. When I interviewed for Shell, that's what you were told to check. Because you see, if you have come from Jomo Kenyatta University, we know if they say you have an engineering degree, Jomo Kenyatta is unlikely to cheat. That's not the area. What you want to do, are you a crook? Remember, if you are very clever and you are a crook, then you will see and will not even catch you. So it is important to find out whether you are. So what we do is, we try to see what you say here, what you say, and what you say here, are they consistent? So in the interview, they will ask you, where are you born? And you say, Karachuni. Then they will go to another topic, and after some time they say, where you are born? Was it a hill or a lake? Now, if you lie the first time, you can't even remember what you said, isn't it? You say it is a hill. Now, we know Karachuni is not too far away from the lake. Are we together? We start suspecting there is a problem. So we again withdraw because we don't want you to discover. We go to another question. And instead of asking, where are you born? Whether it was a hill, we are going to ask you, how far is your home to Kisumu? Now, if you are lying, you'll not remember how many kilometers, isn't it? So the three is the same question. Be asked in 3 different ways. So you need to understand that's what they are trying. That's what they are trying to do. They are trying to discover who you are. Anyway, they will give you a form you can fill. Then they will tell you what date to appear for the interview. If they tell you when and where to come for the interview, do not go to that place on the day of the interview. Go in advance to the place of the interview. Discover how the place is. You cannot dare to go looking for Shell BP house on the day of the interview. You might ask somebody, then they tell you it is near Norfolk. By the time you are in Norfolk, you are told, no, it is near Polytechnic. And you are walking. And even if you have a car, cars in the city center don't fly. They are slower than walking, isn't it? So you end up late, and once you are late, they have proved one point. You are not interested in the job. Are you getting my point? So you need to identify the place. When you talk about how to prepare for an interview, ensure the facts in the CV and in the form are all consistent. Number 2, discover the place in advance. So on the actual morning, you just appear, but you know where you are going. Are we together? It will also show you the way that matatos are here. You are coming from Kariobangi to come to your BP house. You know where to be dropped, how long it takes to walk to the place. Now, if you are going for the first time, you'll be dropped in Nyamakema, and then you don't even know how to go where your BP house is. Are we together? No, it doesn't exist anymore. It is now the Deputy President's office. But that's where I lived for 30 years, just up this road. So anyway, we are talking about preparing. So the first thing to prepare in preparing an interview is to know where it is, its location. Preparation number 2, you must study the organization. These days, any company worth its name has a website, isn't it? To go there to start saying, I don't know who you are, or ask questions that are obvious in the website, is a communication. You are the mind. Or you are not interested in us, which is what they are trying to check in the interview. So you need to know everything you can about that organization. If the website is very scanty, ring somebody like Pastor Duku or myself, somebody who is a little older than you, because I'm likely to know somebody in that industry, isn't it? That's what you need. You don't need mentors to give you jobs. It's to be your network facility, isn't it? Because you have a bigger network than you. So it's important that to get those mentors, all you need is to be a member of a church. There's no, if it is a Christian what he sought, you cannot greet him and he says, I'm not greetable. The best thing about Christians is ability to network. Just attend a fellowship, you hear I'm called Brother Nana, you ring me, I'm unlikely to refuse to receive your phone. Are we together? As long as you're not asking me for a job, you're asking me for information, isn't it? And that information God has allowed me to get. What kind of a Christian would I be if I refuse to give you that information? All that is to help you to do the homework before the interview. So you know about the company, you know about the location. The third way of preparation is how do they expect me to be dressed? Unfortunately, it's not written anywhere at all. Let me tell you something. If you are in your 20s, chances are your interviewers are in their 40s. They are not likely to be my age. They'll be younger. So if you are dressing, dress in a way to please the 40-year-old. In fact, you don't ask your brother or your sister whether you are well dressed. You ask your mother. Because the person you are likely to meet in the interview is likely to be near your mother's age. So don't ask, hey, my sister, you are smashing. That means you'll be thrown out. Now, you need to understand that for you to be properly dressed, it needs to be such that older person thinks you are properly dressed. Let me tell you something. Up to now, I don't know when it will change. If you go there with the Rastas, they are likely to think you're not serious. Not because Rastas are problem, just a hairstyle, isn't it? Especially if that Rasta is on top of a man's head. They are likely to, unless you are going to be they are employing somebody to be a drummer, an actor. If they are employing you as a manager, with your hair moving everywhere, you need to understand one of the preparation is, if you are serious, and do the hair. Are we together? Yes. At least have afro instead of rastas. Are we together? Yeah. So you need to be, I'm talking about men. Number 2, don't wear such a tight trouser that they are seeing more than they should. Are we together? So you need to be aware. And my friend, I know you're not a Muzungu, and you're not a dog, but you put a rope around you. It's important to go in a tie. Are we together? That means we rarely wear ties. So when you wear a tie, it means you respect the people who are coming, where you are going. So as a man, even if the suit came from Gekomba, that's irrelevant. Just go to Gekomba, get a suit, look for money to dry clean it, and start wearing it. The suits in Gekomba, some are very cheap. Okay, don't worry, they will not last. But you are after the interview only, isn't it? Even if it's not lasting. Wear a proper, nice suit. Depending on the job. If the job you are going to do is a job of digging, then the suit may not work. Are we together? So you look, the job is determining how you dress. If you are a lady, it's good to be in something that doesn't look like you're going for a party. Because if you show you're a party, they will think you're assuming the office is also a party. So, and it can be a dress, it can be a trouser suit, but the important thing is, it is not for going to a party. It's going for an office. If you wear a dress that is too low from above and too short from below, they now know you are a temptation. Now, and remember the way they do it, they normally will sit on a table like that, then put one chair in front of them. And you are a girl. One of the things I've discovered is that when you wear a short dress, it becomes shorter when you sit. Am I right, girls? Yeah, if it was short, it will now be shorter. I remember interviewing a girl who had a short dress, and she sat on the chair. And remember, those days there were not many women in management, so we are men looking at this girl seated in front of us. Then she realized the eyes are going from top to bottom. Okay, they are men in their 40s, but they are looking. That's when she realized the eyes are catching. The dress has gone back. So when she realized that, she became totally unstable. So she raises like that, she sees eyes. She turns like that, she sees eyes. She comes out, she sees eyes. She goes, the whole interview was. You ask her, and where were you born? And she tells you, I went through Kabumo High School. You need to understand clearly. She never had the question. Did she pass the interview? No. And we don't know, in the end, we have no idea whether she was clever or not. See, you can't push the ideas on her head. She is unwilling, she can't talk, she is confused. All because of the way she was dressed. So please, unless you are going for a job to be a prostitute, be very careful what kind of dressing you make. And remember, if you dress like that and they employ you, then you are going to be in trouble. Because they don't want to be paid for employing you. And paid in the kite. Am I communicating? Because they know they have just employed another one. But if you dress properly, they cannot figure you out. So they don't know whether they have found another girlfriend or not. You'll be afraid of just jumping on you. On the basis of how you dress. All of that is preparing for the interview. You need to be aware, how are you dressed? But my suggestion is, wear in a formal way and avoid shouting colors. Ever heard of them? I'm not an example, I don't know colors. I can't even tell you what colors are. I don't know the names. When I went to school in the colonial era, we were not taught colors. But I'm sure you know about colors. Am I right? So there are colors that are called shouting colors. It will not be there. But look for something that is more business-like. Black and white are acceptable, but they're not the only colors. I don't know what the others are called, but they're also acceptable. So it's important that you think about that color. Unfortunately, my time is up. The MC wants me to stop. But let me say this. On the day of the interview, go 1 hour before the time that you are supposed to be there. Aim to be 1 hour in advance. For many reasons. Number one, the matatu may end up with a puncture, isn't it? Number two, and so you end up delayed. Number two, when you arrive there, you are panting. In case they ask you to go in, and you are being asked, what is your name? You need a whole hour to cool down. So that when you go for the interview, you are very fresh. You are laughing. Isn't that true? You need long enough to cool down. Number three, when you need to go there, you might discover that there is somebody else who was supposed to arrive before you, and they never came in. So they ask for the next person. Are we together? So you need to be, that's why you are arriving in advance. And when you arrive, go to where they told you to go. Don't start explaining to the guard at the gate. Just say, I have an appointment so and so. Don't start saying, I'm looking for a job. You know that even the askari becomes a boss, isn't it? So you need to find a way. And you need a telephone number. So that if you are given trouble by the guard at the reception, you ring directly to the person. Actually, the telephone goes direct, isn't it? So you need the telephone number of the contact of the person who called you. Once they tell you to come in, you now say you are, normally you say to somebody to allow you to come in. Once they tell you to come in, once you are inside, please do not sit. Wait to be shown that, stand like you are waiting to be told. Or you can see there is a chair. Don't assume it's yours. So let them welcome you. And if they are good interview, they'll make you comfortable. Tell you, please have a seat there. And then they are likely to ask you the whole question. Tell us about your... That's one of the most difficult questions. Because some people decide to give a lecture. Now, when they tell you to tell us about yourself, they are not expecting more than 3 minutes. Are we together? So don't give your biography. Go back to your CV and see what your biodata was. Are we together? Just a summary. So in 3 or 4 sentences, you have introduced who you are. And remember, Any word that comes out of your mouth is to convince them that that job is yours. Are we together? So your introduction must lean towards showing them how you and the job are together. They also likely to ask you, what salary at the end of the interview? What salary do you want us to give you? That's a tricky question. If the job salary is 50,000 and you ask for 10, you have lost the job. Because they know you don't value yourself, this job is too senior for you. If the job is 50,000 and you ask for 100, he will not give you the job. Why? If you negotiate and agree 50, they know you are likely to steal. So they do not want you to get a job where you will feel very underpaid. Are we together? So you need again to go to your uncles and mentors to say, that kind of a job, what kind of salary is it currently giving? Even your mentor may not know, but they likely to know somebody who knows. Are we together? So that you don't go there, be ready. Don't say, I don't know. They are not asking you, don't know. Say, think, guess, and what you guess will be written down. Are we together? Unfortunately, our time is up. I told you from the beginning it was a very long topic, isn't it? Yeah, so there are many subjects all put together. But I can see questions are already going. May I answer questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was asking when you were asked about that famous question about tell us about yourself. Is it advisable to start by giving your name?
Yes. Because of the CV, of course. They want to verify that the person who has come in is the one they are going to do the CV. And that can take their time. Yeah. But actually, when they ask you to tell us about yourself, they want to hear your voice. You know, there are people who speak and you have to beg your pardon. They are trying to, they don't want to go into questions because they know how you speak. So, try to talk to the person at the very far back. Don't talk to the one nearest. So that we are clear. And then please talk good English. Are we together? Yes. Yeah. Don't talk it good in English. Try to talk the best way you know how. Even if they themselves are talking to you English, they want to talk good English. Any other question? How do you look for a job? Let me give you 5 ways of looking for a job. 5 ways of looking for a job. Number 1, it is looking at the newspaper. Every day, there are vacancies in the newspaper. You need not to buy a newspaper every day, but to go to a library. You know, when you go to library, they don't charge it, isn't it? So you go there with a paper to copy all the vacancies for the last 1 week. If you are going to the library once a week. But you need, normally you can, a job cannot be advertised for 1 week only. So if you are going to a library once a week, even if you don't buy any newspaper, you are likely to get the details. Are we together? And if you have a phone, you can take a picture of the advert, isn't it? Yeah, so that you carry the details or write the details down. And many people have got jobs simply by relying on the newspaper. Because a newspaper advert is very expensive. So for somebody to put it there, it means they are serious about getting candidates. Am I right? So do not start thinking you need to know someone. No. If they wanted one for people who know who, they do not have to advertise. So be aware that may not tell you. Number 2, if you are interested in jobs in banks, just Google Kenyan banks and you'll get all of them, or go to the yellow pages for Kenyan banks. And then apply to all banks. So CV will be similar in their banks. And there are many people who get jobs through there. What normally they do is that when you send your CV and solicit it, the HR will put it in a file. Now, the day they have a vacancy, before they can pay the newspaper money, they will go through their heap to see whether there is somebody relevant. Are we together? I'm talking about private companies, because the government cannot do that. The government must advertise, because they don't want to be told they are corrupt. Are we together? But so that way, government jobs normally are all advertised. But private sector, many jobs are not advertised. So you may not need to write to get there. Number 3, it is get a job hunting WhatsApp group. All of of you that left the campus around the same time are all looking for work, isn't it? And you have different networks. So advise each other. Whenever you have a vacancy, place it in WhatsApp. All of us will get. And that's a method that you get it. Because I'm going to find a job and I'm not interested in it. But you're interested. So although me, I don't benefit, you're likely to benefit. So create a WhatsApp group. And the bigger the merrier. Let everybody, because you have no idea about the network. You are creating networks by putting it. And there are many people who find jobs through there. Number 4, go to Kenyan websites for jobs. You can go, and there are many, I'm sure by now you know some of them. Who knows a website that normally has vacancies? Yes? Sorry? Brighter Monday. Ever heard of Brighter Monday?
Yes.
Another one? Go and Google Brighter Monday. Another one? Job? Jobs Kenya. Ever heard of Job Kenya?
Yes.
Another one?
NGO Consortium.
Sorry?
NGO Consortium.
On NGO Consortium. Ever heard of it? Oh, you are the only one. It is that has been added. Are you writing down? Are you writing down?
Yes.
Yeah, because another one?
It's a website for India, but it's international.
Called? Nkrumah.
Yes.
Like in Nkrumah, West Africa.
Just
Spell
like
it.
LK.
Nkrumah. Nkrumah. And there's another one here. At which one? Career Point. Ever heard of Career Point? Another one? Relief?
Web.
Relief Web. How do you spell relief?
Relief. R-E-L-I-F.
Oh, Relief Web. Now, and do not, I tell you the reason why those websites are written is because people are trying to avoid newspapers. They are very expensive. So they only advertise if those sites don't work. Then the last one, you are earn calls. Not earn calls because they are relatives of your mother, but people in the fellowships, older people in your fellowship, they are your network. When somebody is, you can give him, normally when I'm given a CV, I don't refuse. Most people will never help. But how do I know that the Lord doesn't want to use me? So I'm likely to get your CV, then I'm meeting somebody who I'm really looking for a girl who can do this. That's when I will remember, here, I had a CV, and the CV and the person will meet. Are we together? So it's important to know that's a network. Are those 5?
Yes.
Good. I could go on, but I've run out of time. That's all called tamaking, job hunting. However, my last recommendation, don't be idle. Don't sit say you are looking for work. There's no job called looking for work. Go and offer free services to your church, to your social thing, to an NGO. Very few NGOs will say no if you say I'm not going to ask you any money. Are we together? Because remember I told you at a competence, you have to say what you did, isn't it? Not about whether you earn money. So don't worry even if you are not earning money. Do something. You must do something. And then that way you earn your daily bread. Are we together? The Bible says, if you don't work, don't eat. So you need to be doing something, even if it's not paid. I'm very sorry about the time, but I hope I have not wasted your time. Have I wasted your time? Okay, then let me hand over to a friend.
Let's appreciate him, please. It's my pleasure that we have really benefited from what we have heard. It's one thing to hear, it's another thing to put it in practice. The most important part is to put it in practice. Are we going to put it in practice? Are we?
Yes.